YouTube, Trucker Joe. This is per your request, inquiring about oil samples and what I meant and how they work. As you know, anybody that owns a truck and has changed the oil, or even company guys that go like to a TA or other places to get the oil changed, on the DD15 and even other engines, it's extremely expensive, $275 to $375, $400. A lot of companies want you to do that every 15,000 miles, 20,000 miles. It just depends. Instead of doing that, since oil never wears out, it's always oil. What happens is it gets dirty and it gets contaminated. So what I did is I added a OPS, oil filtration bypass system. I'll show you that. This is the passenger side of the engine, and this unit here is the OPS oil filtration system. There's the oil filter. Up above here is a oil cleaning system. As the oil comes in through this top tube in the system on the left, this gets really hot and burns out any antifreeze, fluid, diesel fuel, and water that might be contaminating in it. But for an oil sample, there's this, see where my index finger is? This little cap comes off, and then I get my sample kits from Blackstone Laboratories out of Indiana. Now I'm just going to demonstrate this because the engine's not hot. But inside this container is a oil bottle sample. So I would just fill it with the engine running, put the lid on, and inside here there's like a Ziploc baggie and some absorbent material. The absorbent material goes around the bottle, and then it all goes in this bag. You fill out the form and you send it in, and in about 2 weeks they will send you a reply email. It's about $28. Kind of fumbling here. About $28 to get the sample, and they measure contaminants, solids, metals. They check for diesel fuel and engine coolant, and then they give you a recommendation to change the filters, continue with what you're doing, and they give you some feedback on the health of your engine, so that if you have an injector that fails, you'll have a lot of diesel fuel in your engine oil, and you can change the injector long before it hurts the engine, where the diesel fuel will dilute the oil enough to where the oil can't protect the moving parts. So that's what I do. I do it about every 10 or 12,000 miles. $28. I get the report. If you'd like to see a report, I can snapshot a picture of that or email it to you. You can look it over. But OPS makes a great system. I think it was about $1,200 installed. And frankly, it's already paid for itself, because in 60 or 70,000 miles on this oil, I've only changed the filters once. This filter filters out everything down to 3 microns, and then also the regular engine oil filter that you replace at the same time as this one. So I know this is short. I hope that answered your question. Please give me some feedback, like and subscribe. Have a good day. You can also do coolant samples as well. It checks the pH, it checks how clean it is, whether there's diesel fuel contaminants, or whether the pH balance is correct. I've never done that. I just had my coolant reservoir changed because it was leaking. There was a bulge right here and it was seeping coolant, and I had to have several loads pulled off of me, because if that were to go, it would leave me without coolant, and it would be a bad breakdown on the side of the road. So the mechanic told me that the reason that coolant reservoirs fail is because somehow oil or diesel fuel gets in the system, and they said it's also the cause for bulging hoses, where they get soft and kind of squishy, and then they start leaking even though they're tight, is because you have some sort of infiltration of something that's not supposed to be there. So, something else I learned recently. See ya.